Hi there, my name's Andy Young and I'm one of the automotive lecturers down at Unitech in Auckland, New Zealand, and welcome to my Andy Mechanic YouTube channel. Now on this particular video we're going to head down to South Auckland to the Ford Falcon that I fitted a water pump to a few months ago, and there's a video on that. And this time around we're going to fit a new power steering pump, and in this box here is the power steering pump in question. And it's a brand new pump and it's under the instructions of the customer. We've not really done much diagnostics, although he was doing a burnout. And all of a sudden the steering went really hard. Now I don't have any test equipment to test power steering pump output pressure, and I think there's one or maybe two or maybe three possibilities of what's wrong with this car with the power steering system. One is the pump. Inside the pump there's a pressure relief valve, and if that pressure relief valve has jammed open, it's stuck in the open position, then we're going to lose a lot of the pressure from the output of the pump, if not all of it, and it's just going to basically be pumping back into its reservoir, and there'll be no pressure feed to the power steering rack. That's one possibility. Now remember, the vehicle was on full throttle at the time, so the pump would have been pumping maximum fluid. There's no external leaks, there's no oil behind the gaiters at either end of the steering rack either, so the end seals haven't failed. Other possibility, I think, is that the torsion bar inside the, what do we call it, radial control valve? Can't remember the name of it now. But the actual rotary, there we are, rotary control valve has a little tiny torsion bar down the middle of it, and the resistance that offers will vary how much assistance the power steering gives the driver. And for sort of, older people, sometimes garages will grind down that torsion bar. Very illegal, I know, but they'll grind down the torsion bar a little bit to allow it to flex a bit easier, so that more fluid is provided under less resistance, so it gives them more assistance. Sounds good, doesn't it? So maybe that's snapped. If it's snapped, if it's completely snapped, actually, if it completely snapped, would you get assistance at all, or would you get maximum assistance? Maybe you get maximum assistance, maybe it isn't that. It's unlikely to be that anyway. And the other possibility, I think, is that the main seal, the piston seal, that separates the two chambers, this is like a Teflon seal, it's in the middle of the rack, that's failed. So whenever fluid pressure is applied to one chamber, it's leaking straight into the other chamber, and you're getting equal pressure in both chambers, and therefore you're not going to get any assistance. That's the other possibility. However, I have a sneaky suspicion it's most likely to be the pump. So we're going to change that, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it's going to work. If it's not the pump, well, all it can be is the rack, which means he's going to be buying a new pump and a new rack, because once you fit the pump, you can't take it back. Okay, so I'm going to tidy up, get all my gear together, and I'm going to head down to South Auckland, and I'll see you down there. Actually, I'm back. Before I go, just so you have a quick look at the pump, this is the pump in question, okay? And it comes with the reservoir and all those bits and pieces. And I will, when I bring the old pump back, sort of a tail end of this video is, well, maybe a second video, do a second video. I'll be taking the old pump apart to see if we can find or spot any problems with it. But we'll also know if the system's working or not, won't we, once this is fitted. Okay, now in the box comes some instructions, a little packet, and inside that packet we've got this, and it says flushing procedure for power steering systems. And also, if you can see that or not, there's a little tiny O-ring in there, and we'll find out what the O-ring's for, I'm sure, a bit later on. We'll put that back in the packet, don't lose that. Now, flushing procedure. What do they mean by that? Well, it says here, before removal or fitment, before removal, stroke RE, fitment or replacement of any power steering rack, box, pump or hose, older fluid should always be purged to reduce the minimized cross-contamination. This can easily be performed with the steering wheel lock released, engine off, and vehicle wheels elevated. Are we going to bother doing that? Unlikely. I'll tell you why. Because it wasn't very long ago that this had a new reservoir fitted onto the old power steering pump. There's already been some work done on it, and the previous mechanic put brand new fluid in the system, so we don't need to worry about that too much. But if you're fitting a pump to a system that hasn't been touched for quite some time, it's got the old fluid in, then I strongly recommend that you give the system a full flush out. Now, how does it say you actually drain the fluid? Probably just undo one of the hoses off the side of the rack, I would say. I'll read it out to you, then you know what you have to do. Only release the return line fitting from the steering rack or box and redirect the outlet into a vial positioned directly, a vessel contained directly under the return port. So basically coming off the rack will be, is there a drain? No, there isn't a drain. There's just two pressure pipes. Don't know what wrong about there. Off the rotary control valve there'll be a drain that will return back to the reservoir, so undo it from there. But even by doing that, you're not going to get all the fluid out of the rack. Here we go. Okay, so undo the return pipe back to the reservoir, and then with the engine turned off, it says here, wind the steering wheel slowly from left lock to right lock 4 or 5 times till little or no resistance can be felt. Remove the power steering pump, fill a cap, and repeat the winding cycle after 5 minutes. That obviously allows any more fluid to drain down. This should now have purged most of the older oil that remained in the hydraulic system. However, you can always refill the pump reservoir with new fluid, repeating step 3 to remove any of the older residual fluid. Note, when bleeding and refilling any hydraulic system, always use the original manufacturer's recommended power steering fluid, as other brands may cause numerous problems. To minimize the risk of leakage at either high pressure or return line port fittings, always replace with new seals before refitment. These have either been supplied or need to be resourced via the original manufacturer. So that's what that little O-ring's for. We're going to need to fit that somewhere. I'll be perfectly honest, I have never fitted one of these power steering pumps. I tend to do a lot more Japanese stuff, so a little bit different, but hey, there's only 2 pipes, it can't be too hard, can it? Okay, time to load up and get going. Catch you later. Right, finally we're on site and we've got the new pump. First, we've got to take the old pump off. I'll show you where it is. Here we go. Okay, now we've had this pump removed in the past when we changed the water pump just down here, look. It's not too bad a job. First thing to do is to remove this belt. We do that by slacking off the tensioner. So I'll do that very shortly. And then inside here, through the axis of the pulley, there's some bolts to remove that pump. And we've also got a couple of pipes to take off. So we've got down here, we've got the non-pressurized return, and we've also got another one just down here, and that's the one I think we'll be using the O-ring for. Okay, let's make a start. Okay, so just using a ratchet, you can just put it into the square drive slot at the bottom of the adjuster, and with a little bit of force we can pull that up slacking off that belt. Wow, that's tight. There we go. Okay, great stuff. Now, with that belt out of the way, you can see there's quite a lot of residue on there actually. You can then align the holes that are in the pulley with the bolts that mount the pump to the bracket. So let's start off with a nice easy one. And these are a 10mm socket size. It's a glorious sunny day, but it doesn't help the camera. Now it is possible if you want to remove the electric fans, so I might do that shortly, just gives a bit more room to work, because it is pretty tight down here. Okay, so that's the first of 3 mounting bolts for that pump out of the way. Okay, that's that one. Let's get these fans out of the way to give us some more space. So the first job is to disconnect the power feed to those fans. That's just that connector there, dead easy. And then it's going to be a bolt just here, one on the other side. We'll get those undone. We should be able to lift those fans out of the way. So again, 10mm, undo that. Okay, that's one. And the other one is just under here, look. Short socket for that. Cool. Now we're also going to need to remove this out of the way, and that's 2 posi screws. Okay, now with those 2 bolts removed, we should be able to lift those fans out of the way. Excellent. Right, so with those fans out of the way, we've got loads more room to work. Much easier. Okay, so we've got 2 more bolts to undo. There's one just there, look. More beach, more beach. Good, beach is good. Okay, let's get rid of this little sensor here, look. There's a little clip. Just to get it out of the way. There we go. Okay, so we've got 2 unions to undo now. The pump's essentially free. It's got this non-pressure pipe here, and we've got the output there from the pump to undo as well, and on that one with a new O-ring, I'm sure. So I think they're both probably going to leak fluid, so we're pretty much against the clock on this one. Okay, so back of the pump, we'll get this one undone first, this clip. Try not to crash into the camera too much. Now I'm not going to pull the pipe off just yet, but I'll get the clip completely slackened off. So I want to try and minimise as much oil leakage as I can, ATF, and get this pump put into my drain tray, because there's still quite a lot of fluid left in the reservoir. Okay, that should be enough. Excellent. Right, we'll just check that's loose. Yeah, perfect. Right, last job is to crack off this union here. Now we're going to start to leak fluid. We'll get that one off, pull the rubber hose off, and I'm going to pull this pump clean away from the vehicle and get it put into the drip tray. Drip tray close to hand. Okay, so we can get that cracked off without the camera being too much in the way. Wow, that's tight. Sorry, camera. Okay. Wallop. Cool. Okay, time to drip. Oh, we're in West Auckland. Classic. And providing some entertainment while I'm here.
I know.
Okay. Perfect. Well, that was pretty good. Normally, I spill oil everywhere. Okay, now you'll see on this pipe here is that little O-ring that needs to be replaced. So we'll just flick that off now. There we go, and we'll get the new one. Okay, one nice new O-ring. Could do with some new gloves as well, couldn't I? Right, that's now ready. We're just going to put a little bit of oil on it. There we go, look. Steal a bit from there, just to help it seat and not get torn when we reinstall it. Right, new pump time. Okay. Let's see if we can get that thread started first. Have you been finding your bike?
Huh?
Have you ridden and found your bike yet?
Yeah.
Good.
We're on trials down to the beach.
Cool. I did a mountain bike ride the other day actually with my lad. I went to, I live at Silverdale now, and we went to Puhoi. You ever been to Puhoi, to the pub? Puhoi's a nice place, and 20 k's it was. Right, we'll give that a final tweak once the pump's actually bolted onto the bracket. Damn you, camera. Always in the way. Right, that'll do for now. Okay, let's get this other pipe put on. You'll be doing these jobs on your own soon. You'll be watching my videos and going out and earning some money. What's there? That'll do. Right. Okay. Well, with the two pipes put back onto the one onto the pump, the metal pipe, and the rubber pipe onto the reservoir, we can now bolt the pump back onto the bracket. Here we go. Now the long bolt is the one that came out of this particular mount hole here, so we're just going to line that up first. So that's the one that goes through this bracket here, and it's that one down there. There we go. I'll just start that off by hand. Cool. Okay. Now, the other two bolts are the same length, and those two go around on this side. Okay, that's one. Right, now we can tighten them all up. Now, just got to tighten this last, give that a tweak. Now it's all held in place. There we go. And we'll just check that Jubilee clip while we're on as well, that hose clamp. That's very English, wasn't it? Jubilee clip. And we can mount that clip, that connector back on there again. Super job. Right, time to fill it up. Okay, make sure you got the right ATF for the application, whatever the manufacturer says, and I'll be using Dextron 3. Okay, so that's the serpentine belt reinstalled, dead easy. Same technique as taking it off, obviously using a power bar, 3/8 power bar or a half 3/8 ratchet on there. And all I've done is top the reservoir up to maximum, and now I'm going to start the engine and just go from lock to lock a few times to purge out any air bubbles that are in that system. And fingers crossed we're going to have power steering again. Okay, there we go. So you just got to go full lock all the way back. And just keep doing that, and if you know, if you get any funny weird like high-pitched squealy noises and stuff, that's usually down to trapped air. And also, if you just park it up and leave it for half an hour or so, or overnight till the next morning, you'll often find that any minute bubbles that are in that fluid will actually, you know, just escape all on their own, and everything will be just fine the next day. And all you have to do is just top it back up to the maximum mark. Okay, well that feels pretty good actually. Definitely a good power steering effort going on. You know, I can turn that wheel now with just one finger. Cool. Well, I call that a fix. Okay, so all that's left to do now is to refit those fans, plug in the harness, top up the fluid again, make sure it's not below the maximum. It looks pretty good to me actually on there. Have a quick check around with the torch, make sure there's no leaks, and I'm going to call that a fix. Okay crew, well my name is Andy Young and I'm one of the automotive lecturers down at Unitec in Auckland, New Zealand, and you've been watching my Andy Mechanic YouTube channel. Now if you found the video helpful, then why not subscribe, which I think is on this side here somewhere. Click on subscribe, and if you don't want notifications, click the gear icon and turn on notifications. Now you'll also find me on Facebook, Instagram, Google+, and Twitter. And you can communicate through any of those portals if you like. However, I would prefer if you could send any comments or questions you've got through the YouTube comments section, and that way I'll pick up them pretty quick and I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Okay, well that's about it. Cheers crew, over and out.